evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Monday, March 27, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. US $22 million IDB loan to boost production at DDL. One arrested as major crimes takes over probe into murder of Canadian-Guyanese. Young man remanded for murder of CANJE laborer. Arson suspected as BERBICE home goes up in flames. And we are delivering on the legacy of Dr. CHEDDI Jagan, says President Ali. Now for the news in detail. With the signing of a historic loan agreement between a local company and the investment arm of the Inter-American Development Bank, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh has urged the private sector to seek out more such partnerships. Gerald Bryan has our lead story tonight.
The signing of the loan agreement took place on Monday between the Inter-American Development Bank and beverage giant Demerara Distillers Limited. The loan, which amounts to US $22 million, is the largest loan that has ever been approved by IDB Invest to Guyana. According to Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh, other members of the private sector should take heed of this agreement and seek out loans of their own.
We have for a very long time been advocating the IDB doing more with the private sector of Guyana. And in fact, for many years, we've been calling on IDB, previously IIC, now IDB Invest, to explore more opportunities for partnership with and support to the private sector. And I'm happy to say that in recent years, we have seen an extremely positive response to this call. And in particular, I want to say, Aitor, through you, I want to say that we have had, and in fact I said this last week in Panama City at the IDB's annual meetings, we are extremely pleased by the manner in which IDB Invest has responded.
Meanwhile, DDL CEO Kamal Samaru revealed that over the next 3 years, approximately $100 million will be spent on capital projects.
In our ongoing Plan Future Growth, we are creating new income opportunities for the agriculture sector, with major growth in the demand for fresh food for our top corporations. I believe that even at the present time, our demand is about 5 times what we are getting at the present time. So there is demand for fruits. We continue to build and invest in supply chain from farm gate to factory door. So make it easy on the farmers to get their fruit to the factory. And we continue to build our brand so as to increase demand and increase demand for juice and increase demand for more fruits.
IDB Invest is the private sector arm of the IDB, and it largely focuses on financing projects that promote clean energy and agriculture in Latin America and the Caribbean. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
The Major Crimes Unit of the Guyana Police Force has taken over the investigation into the murder of Canadian-Guyanese Roma Dukuran, whose partially nude body was discovered at Leg 1 foreshore on March 17. 68-year-old Dukuran, formerly of Perth Village, Essequibo Coast, had arrived in Guyana to finalize several business transactions a week prior to the discovery of her body at Uniform Beach, Leg 1 Island. Investigations have so far revealed that the woman was dropped off by her nephew at the CHEDDI Jagan International Airport on March 14 to catch an American Airlines flight to Canada. However, detectives have determined that the woman subsequently left the airport with a taxi and went to a location at Diamond on the east bank of Demerara. She left that location and headed for the Pegasus Hotel in Georgetown. Crime Chief Wendell Blanham has confirmed to the Evening News that one of the taxi drivers has since been arrested for questioning. Upon the discovery of the woman's body, she was clad only in a black brassiere. The post-mortem examination has since determined that the woman died from blunt trauma to the head and compression to the neck. Our BERBICE correspondent Andrew Carmichael joins us now to report that a 23-year-old construction worker was today remanded to prison for allegedly murdering a CANJE laborer just over a week ago. Here are the details.
23-year-old Trevor Rajmangal of Canefield appeared virtually before Magistrate Sherdel Isaac Marcus and was not required to plead to the indictable charge, which alleges that between Saturday 18th March and Sunday 19th March at West Canefield in East CANJE, he murdered Imran Mohammed Abdul Ali called Mice. Rajmangal, who was represented by attorney-at-law Chandra Sohan, will have to return to court on April 23rd when the police is expected to make a disclosure of all the evidence they have. The body of the 36-year-old laborer was discovered along the street at Canefield village by a villager. When the discovery was made, there was blood oozing from his left eye, and he still had a radio attached to his hand. An autopsy performed by government pathologist Dr. Vivekanand Brijmohan gave the cause of death as shock and cerebral hemorrhage due to a fractured skull. It had been reported that after the accused was arrested, he confessed to killing Ali. It had also been reported that Rajmangal allegedly told police that he threw a beer bottle at Ali, hitting him in the head. He had reportedly claimed that he and the now dead man had an argument, and it was during that argument that he pelted him with a glass bottle. Police had reported that the now dead man was seen at about 20 hours on Saturday walking through the said street and consuming alcohol. It was hours later that the dead man's body was discovered. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
A late-night fire on Saturday left a hire car driver homeless after his Chesney Front Quarantine Region 6 home went up in flames. Andrew Carmichael joins us again with the details.
The fire at Chesney Front, Quarantine Region 6 property, was reportedly seen shortly after 21 hours. At the time, however, Safraz Marcelin was not at home. Marcelin had gone to his aunt's home at number 62 Village Quarantine, which is about 35 miles away. He said a friend called him and informed him about the fire. When he arrived at the scene, there were 2 units from the Guyana Fire Service outside of his premises, and the building was already completely destroyed. He explained that the house was fully furnished. The only part of the building that was spared by the blaze was the washroom, which is situated on the lower flat.
My name is check nothing. Go the police. They want me at the station. They want me to go give a report. When we go to the station now, the lack of me took about 20 minutes now. Let me get loot now. Me come since last night.
Why did they detain you?
No, till now no why not tell me. No why not tell me nothing. No why not say nothing. Why did you tell? Why is it?
However, a source close to the investigating team told this newscast that a fire might have started in the area close to the stairway. The source also said that the initial investigations seemed to suggest that a fire was deliberately set. The police and fire department are both investigating. In August last year, a car had crashed into Marcelin's garage, damaging his car in the process. The car, which was being driven by a teacher, plunged into Marcelin's yard after hitting a pedestrian who later died. What are some of the things that you might have lost?
A lot of things right now we can't. Everything. This one we got is the only thing I left.
I understand that you were trying to get your car back.
Everything license.
You were trying to get the car out of the workshop?
Yeah.
And where is the money for that?
I had some money in the wardrobe. I was have to make his friends say I have to appeal for the car. Everything good.
Marcelin said he would like to rebuild. Persons who may wish to assist can contact him on telephone number 629-0143. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Understanding the animal population and monitoring the types of pathogens which exist in these habitats is one of the key points in creating a One Health policy for Guyana that speaks to preparedness. Rupasina Ryan tells us more.
At the inaugural One Health meeting on Monday at the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony identified that human health has always been approached in silo without identifying the interrelationship with animals and the environment. A key example was the COVID outbreak in 2019, which took some 2 years to rebound from, and the effects still weighing in some countries.
As human beings started to extend their activity and start encroaching more on habitats where animals have traditionally been located, we are going to see a frequency in these jumps because of the close connection. This is one of the things that many of the researchers and scientists have come up with, that as we get closer to each other, you are going to see many of these jumps. And we have to therefore come up with systems to be able to identify when these jumps occur.
Apart from pathogens, he pointed to mutations which are often not tracked due to limited capacity.
We need to change that so that we can contribute in terms of the scientific know-how if we have that capacity. So just about 2 years ago, in the midst of COVID, one of the little projects that we were doing was to look at to see whether the Plasmodium falciparum here would have developed resistance to the medicines that we are using to treat malaria.
This policy is geared at preventing and preparing for current and future health challenges at the human-animal environment interface through collaboration and coordination across governance frameworks of human, animal, plant, and environmental health programs.
For us in PAHO, One Health is a framework that strengthens and consolidates the key areas of technical cooperation that we have with the Ministry of Health and the government of Guyana, particularly in relation to pandemic prevention, preparedness and response, and also as a mechanism to enable the country in achieving its targets on universal health coverage and access, NCDs, health and well-being throughout the life course, and disease elimination.
The meeting focused on the process of developing Guyana's One Health policy, reviewing the concept of One Health, its benefits and the possibilities of implementation in Guyana, and the strategic perspectives for upcoming One Health activities across the country. Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
Coming up, government will address regularization of East Coast Demerara lands, says Nandlal, and Suri Trading commissions multi-million-dollar Little Diamond warehouse. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
It's the big taste you love. Devon Big Six. For when you want more. Devon Big Six. The biggest six in Guyana. More chocolate. More custard. More value. Devon Big Six. Put a smile on your face.
Thousands of hinterland residents will soon have access to world-class healthcare services right in their communities. Some $125 billion is being invested in the upgrade of hospitals in Letham, Kato, Madia, Port Kaituma, Bartica, Mabaruma, and Maruka. Improved healthcare is just one of many ways oil revenues will be used to support developmental projects.
It was a long car ride home, and Kyla started to crave the all-natural Ripley's Crunch. Ah yes, that was all she could think about. She thought she was dreaming, but it seemed so real. Daydream or not, the craving still hit, and she couldn't wait to rip into it. Sunshine Snacks Ripples Chips. Rip into 100% real potato goodness.
Sunshine Snacks Ripples. Rip into real potato.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Noting the importance of land ownership, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal has assured that the government will be addressing the regularization of lands on the east coast of Demerara. Jarl Bryan reports.
Attorney General Anil Nandlal made this commitment to residents of Victoria, east coast of Demerara, during a cabinet outreach over the weekend. According to him, ancestral land and access to such lands are important matters for Guyanese across the country. In this regard, Nandlal assured that the government will address the regularization of land on the east coast of Demerara.
Land is the most powerful asset God making everything stop make land. So you have to get yourself back to the land, and we have to regularize your occupation. And that is what you see people from lands and surveys are here and so on. That is the part of the equation that I would like to focus on. To put you back on the land, to make you productive so that you can contribute to the economic drive taking place, and you can contribute to making Guyana the breadbasket of the Caribbean, our long-held aspiration. And we intend to pursue that and make that a reality now. We have the resources now for the first time to make that happen. I have commenced this process in many parts of the East Coast and across the country. Next week I'm going back into Buxton. I was there 2 weeks ago to continue this initiative. I've started a similar initiative right here in Golden Grove, and that process is ongoing. There's a surveyor on the ground talking to the farmers, and we are demarcating the land.
According to Nandalal, the government intends to also regularize the backlands in Victoria. With this, the Attorney General said, will come empowerment for the people.
That will be the focus of my interaction, unless, of course, you invite me to address any other matter, because I believe that that is fundamental to your livelihood and empowerment. A lot of people walking this country are talking about empowerment and empowerment. What have they done for you to empower you? We are offering you empowerment in the railway, putting you and connecting you to the lands of this country so that you can become productive and make those lands productive, and you can be in a position to transmit that wealth to generations to come of yours. That is real empowerment. And that is when they come to talk to you, you must ask them about that, what they have to do. What have they done for you?
This is in addition to other developments in the legal sphere that are coming to the east coast of Demerara. These include a new court at Cove and John and Maikoni, as well as the completed new court at Vigilance. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
Many of the PPPC policies of today can be traced back to the policies of the party's founder, Dr. CHEDDI Jagan, from its pro-poor approach and regional leadership on food security matters to its pro-business policies. This is according to President Dr. Irfan Ali, who was at Babu John on Sunday. Here's Jarrell Bryan again with the details.
President Dr. Irfan Ali was on Sunday at Babu John, Quarantine, where he and members of the party went to celebrate the life and work of party founder Dr. CHEDDI Jagan. According to Ali, Dr. Jagan is inextricably linked with the PPPC. He pointed to similar ideologies in Jagan's manifesto of 1992 when he was elected to office as president.
We cannot divorce Dr. Jagan from the PPP, and we cannot divorce the PPP from Dr. Jagan. That is why the policies we pursue must be reflective of the core values and principles. Go back to the manifesto of 1992. It spoke about food security, universal education, health, public infrastructure, investment in human capital. And that is what this government continues to do every single day. Doing it and delivering is living the legacy of Dr. CHEDDI Jagan.
Other examples he listed of this are the Because We Care grant to help school children, the impending construction of 12 world-class hospitals, and even the government support for the private sector.
When we uplift the lives of women and children, when we help the vulnerable, the poor, when we help businesses to grow, when we help businesses to expand, when we help the private sector to become prosperous, we are delivering on the legacy of Dr. CHEDDI Jagan. Because a private sector that is dead is an economy that is dead. A private sector that cannot produce and grow is an economy that is static and backward. And we do not intend to develop a country with a dead or static private sector. We must develop the private sector to help the ordinary people of our country.
Tackling the issue of racism, the president committed to working to eradicate this scourge from society. According to him, while others focus on claims of racism, the PPPC is focused on charting a course to heal the wounds of the past and create a fresh development pathway. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
Reflecting on the collective despair that accompanied the People's Progressive Party Civic's loss of power in 2015 and the way the party was able to defeat their successor at the polls even while in opposition, General Secretary Bara Jagdeo is optimistic that his party's elections chances are stronger than ever before against a weakening party. Find out more in this report.
During his address at an event hosted by the PPP at Babujan, Quarantine Region 6, to celebrate the life and work of the father of the nation and its founder, Dr. CHEDDI Jagan, General Secretary of the party, Dr. Bara Jagdeo, opined to their party's direct rivals, the People's National Congress Reformed, is a dying organization.
That party, that philosophy, the racism of the PNC will lead to their demise. And now they're rapidly dying as an organization. And the next elections, not just the local government one, we will prove that definitively, the one in 2025.
He referenced the PNCR's efforts to bring down the PPP-PC government in the international arena and said that those efforts have backfired since the opposition party cannot substantiate its constant claims of racism.
When I hear everyone talk about inclusivity, just recently they've been trying in the international community to go on badmouth us, to say, oh, this is a racist government. And they were told, well, if you look at the judiciary, it's balanced in this country. You have people of every race in the judiciary. In the legislature, it reflects the nature of Guyana. And in the executive of our party, the cabinet, it looks like Guyana too. So what are you talking about? Recently, the State Department report pointed out that in spite of all these complaints, that this government has people of all races in senior leadership positions across the government of Guyana. And that is the nature of our party.
And in a seeming reference to the civil society actors who have been critical to the government, Jagdeo noted that the party reserves the right to defend itself, since in many cases these civil society actors are biased and feed into inaccurate narratives about the government. In fact, Jagdeo was of the view that the party did not do this enough when they lost power in the 2015 general and regional elections. Jagdeo also noted that today, when the party pushes back against its critics, there are those who would say that the party is intolerant of criticism. The General Secretary made it clear, however, that the party, while not being intolerant of criticism, will also defend its record. Tassia Dickinson for the Evening News.
Investments are changing the landscape and economic fabric of Guyana, and the latest is the opening of a spanking new warehouse at Plantation Little Diamond on the east bank of Demerara by Suri Trading, one of Guyana's largest distributors of food, beverage, and hygiene products. Here are the details from Rupasine Ryan.
After outgrowing their Eccles East Bank Demerara location, Suri Trading saw the need to develop a new warehouse which is now located at Little Diamond. This new facility was commissioned on Saturday by President Dr. Irfan Ali, who lauded the company on its expansion.
Development spur development. If we had no roads, we would not have had this. If we did not have this, we will not have the housing. If you did not have the housing, there will be no demand for your product. That is how it happens. The ecosystem is completely integrated. Important to what you're doing is that it strengthens the social safety net. Now, social safety net is not only about the government increasing pension, giving more to the vulnerable people. Social safety net is when the private sector participate in the development of the country, create jobs, empower people, and create an environment in which people earn money.
In creating a branded and integrated hub, Ali noted that the country has to work on building its indigenous capacity. But in doing this, filling all employment gaps is critical. Employment shortfall was one of the challenges outlined by CEO of Suri Trading, Frank Sanichara. Suri Trading employs over 100 persons. There is also the intention to commence manufacturing, but Sanichara noted that technical labor remains a challenge.
We are also facing with employees employment inflation. Employment inflation is another thing that's affecting us here. Most of the brains of the country are heading out to the oil companies and the subcontractors of the oil companies, and you can't blame them because they're paying well. And who wouldn't want to go across for a higher salary? So over the past years, over the past 2 years, in my line of business, we had to increase salaries somewhere around between 60 to 100% to keep some of the guys.
Meanwhile, President of the GCCI, Timothy Tucker, said the company has shown resiliency and diversification as he urged for Guyanese products to be on the regional market.
I would like to also challenge you to do what was not done for you by reaching out to local manufacturers and taking those products and distributing it as well. Take those products to Trinidad, Jamaica, Suriname, and to Jamaica. Put Guyanese products in those countries. Work with Banks DIH to be their distributor outside of Guyana. Clearly you have the potential. You are a first-class distributor. You are an excellent marketer, right? And of course you don't say no and you overcome challenges.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the birth reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Tuesday, March 28 at 22 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the BERBICE River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Tuesday, March 28 at 7:50 hours for a period of 1.5 hours.
Golden Jags beat Bermuda en route to Gold Cup prelims, and Britain John wins CHEDDI Jagan cycling race. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
John Lewis Styles has opened a new department, now offering home goods. Here you can find quality sheets and towels, pillows, blankets, and even bath mats and shower curtains. Organize your laundry with clothes baskets, fabric steamers, irons, and ironing boards. For the kitchen we have small appliances, towels and mittens, pot sets and dinner sets too. Decorate the house with mirrors, picture frames, floating shelves, and decorative pillows. All these and more on Waterloo Street. It's fashion for the home. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Complete control of power is in your hands with the ultimate U.S. brand Generac generators from Sylvie's Variety Store. Get the supply and reliability you need every time. From 1,800 to 8,000 watts of power for residential and commercial use. Recoil and electric start with gasoline engines. Generac generators from the authorized dealers Sylvie's Variety Store.